Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody. This is Jay from ShopWorks, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule today. Our subject is 3 ways to improve your order workflow. If you've never attended one of our webinars before, they are recorded, so we will give you a location later if you'd like to review them or share with other staff members. This webinar is also intended for companies looking to evaluate ShopWorks on-site. If you're an existing ShopWorks customer, I see that we have a couple of them here in the webinar. You're certainly welcome to watch the webinar and stay with us, but you might find this is stuff you already know. So I apologize if that was not clear when I sent out the invite, but that is this particular webinar is kind of oriented towards people evaluating software or who are just kind of interested in this subject, how to improve your order workflow. Now, we'll be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card today. And the way that you're going to be eligible for that gift card, we're going to raffle it away. We're going to have 3 polls today. They take you about 10 seconds to just click on a quick answer. And we're going to pull from those polls to see who wins the card. And if you answer all 3 polls, then you get 3 entries into the giveaway. And we'll just send it to the Amazon gift card is sent to you electronically to your email address that you registered for the webinar. If you don't know a little bit about ShopWorks, our company, we've been around over 25 years. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, over 25 years in this industry. We only service this industry. My name again is Jay Malanga, and I used to own a screen printing and embroidery and promotional products business. That's how we originally developed the software. Now, our subject today, actually, before I get started, one last thing. You are encouraged to ask questions throughout the webinar. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to just type into the little question pane there. Type in your questions whenever you like, and I'm going to reserve time at the end of the webinar to answer all of the questions. Okay, so the first thing is we're talking about workflow today, and why is workflow so important? Well, the first thing is that, the old adage, time equals money. That's even more true these days as our labor costs continue to soar. It's harder to find good employees. We want to remove human labor from our business as much as we can. Humans are always going to be involved, but obviously we want to minimize how much work they have to do. And we estimate that you and your employees spend about 50% of your total labor is spent managing sales orders and getting them out the door. That means taking the order, purchasing goods for the order, receiving the order, producing the order, everything that has to do with an order. You spend about 50% of your total labor. So if you look at your payroll, that's a tremendous amount of money. And that money represents the biggest savings opportunity you have for your business. Rents are going up. All costs are going up, including labor costs. So if you can reduce the time it takes to produce an order, you're effectively reducing your labor cost per order. That means those employees can get more done, or you can take on more orders. The second thing is you guys are in a very unique industry. And the reason why is because you're moving a high volume of orders. You're manufacturing those orders, custom manufacturing it. And to make things worse, you're on very short timelines. That's just the nature of your business. If you really think about it, it's kind of a very unique industry. And that puts pressure on your business to get orders out faster. There's certain challenges that are associated with our industry. And of course, you understand that better than anybody. And the third point about workflow so important is because quality matters. You guys have tight margins, so you got to reduce mistakes. There's lots of competition in the industry. So if you're making mistakes, your customer is going to go to one of your competitors. And so workflow, taking the order and getting it out the door as quick and as efficiently as possible at high quality is probably one of the most important things you can do for your business. So that's why this subject is so important. Now, briefly, I'd like to kind of describe to you the typical shop. When somebody calls our company and says, hey, I'm looking at evaluating software, and we kind of say, hey, tell me a little bit about your business. This is what they tell us. That most of them are using 3-part forms to take orders. And that means communication between departments is slow, it's paper driven. Things get lost because you're dealing with paper. And it's time consuming. So if you want to change an order, you have to go retrieve paperwork to change the order. And you can see here in our little cartoon, the sales guy takes the order. He then distributes it to the art and production department. They run and start doing their job. So it's kind of very paper driven. That's very typical. In the production department, most people are doing some sort of production scheduling, but typically they're using magnet boards, spreadsheets. Sometimes they're even using paper. I've seen people where they tape up pieces of paper into a drawn calendar or a drawn week on a wall. So the problem with all these methods is it's hard for everybody to know what the schedule is. And there's no predictive tools. There's no tools saying, oh, what do we got 2 weeks from now? What do we got a week from now? It's really hard to do that. They're typically scheduling what they have for that day or that week. It's kind of just like what's in your face at the moment. And then lastly, when an order is completed in production, most companies are manually entering shipping information. So into whether they're using UPS, FedEx, or something else, they're manually entering that data in. And then they're also manually invoicing. They're manually entering the same data or similar data into QuickBooks or some other accounting package. So that means they're effectively entering the data once on order entry. They're entering more data when they do production scheduling sometimes, and then shipping and invoicing. So they're entering data at least 3 to 4 times, sometimes more. Some people have other processes, and they're actually entering it more. And of course, that's super bad because extra labor, and also it's prone to errors. If somebody writes down a wrong number, a wrong quantity, a wrong item code, you have mistakes on an order, and that's really what you're trying to avoid here. So what's the end result of the typical shop? When we talk to people on the phone, again, they're entering data manually into multiple systems. That's increasing labor and errors. Changing orders is difficult because they got to go retrieve paperwork, rewrite it, and then give it back to people. It's difficult to get real-time analytics. So if a business owner or a manager wants to see how many orders we have right now, how many hours is that, what screen printing orders do we have, all this kind of stuff is difficult to get because it's on paper. And then the fourth point, which is super important, it's hard and slow to get a customer answers if the customer calls in, if they have a question about an order. It requires the person on the phone to maybe hang up the phone, go talk to people, chase some paper, call the customer back. It's super labor intensive. So the bottom line for your business, higher costs, difficult to grow your business, and it can be frustrating. So for not only yourself, but for customers, employees, all staff members really. So probably one of the reasons you're in this webinar is because this resonates a little bit with you. And that prompts my first question or poll that I'm going to have for you. I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. And I want you to tell me a little bit. You'll see it on screen now. How much does this sound like your business? And just select one of these. Again, responding to this poll gets you a whack at the $100 gift card. And it only takes you a couple seconds. So I can see you guys are voting. I'm going to, again, go ahead and click in if you can, and I'll share the results with you when we're done. We got 70% of you voted. Okay, I'm going to close the poll in 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, and we're done. All right, so let me share this with you. So about 15% of you said you nailed it, meaning we kind of described your business almost exactly there. 38% of you said many of these issues apply to us. So that's 30, 40, that's over 50%. The other 38% said some of these issues apply to us. And then 13% said very few of these issues apply to us. And that's pretty typical of what we see. Actually, you guys are a little bit more on top of it. Only 50% of you are nailed it or many issues apply to us. Typically, we see that number a little bit higher, 60 or 65%. Okay, so let's talk about now. We've talked about what the problem is. Now let's talk about the top 3 things that you can do about it. And the first thing is tracking on order status. So the subject here is knowing what's going on with an order. So I'm going to flip over to our on-site system here. And actually, before I do that, if we talk about the manual world, the paper world that we just described, if you want to know what's going on in order status, you have to call somebody, get up from your desk and go see somebody, email somebody, or some other communication method. Somebody, an employee at your company has to manually get up and go and find out what the order status is. And then they have to call your customer back, or they keep your customer on hold and do it that way. Super labor intensive, super inefficient, and can be frustrating for customers. So let me just kind of show you how we do that on-site. So this is our on-site system. I'm logged in. I'm logged in as the fictional Jay Markinson, who's an administrator, and Jay has access to the entire system. So he can see all the different departments up here across the top. He can see everything in the system. You do have the ability, I'm not going to really show you this in the demo, but you do have the ability to restrict your staff members from seeing certain areas. So for example, I might have a salesperson where that's all they can get is into the sales department, and I can further limit it where they can only see their orders. Again, I'm not going to demonstrate all that today, but I just want you to let you know those features are there. You can limit who can see the information in the system. So what I want to do is I just want to go click real quick on view all orders in progress. And right there, very quickly, I get a quick snapshot of what's going on in my business. Now, it's 228 orders. That's probably more than most people, but some people do have that many orders going on at one time. And you get the customer's purchase order number, the company name, the design, the company location. I can also see the order type. The order type is the type of order it is, and these are completely customizable. So keep that in mind as you're watching the rest of this webinar. Things I'm showing you, it's very configurable. So we have screen printing and embroidery orders. We have promotional products orders. We have awards orders. We have digital printing orders. You might say, well, Jay, I don't even do screen printing or embroidery. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can make this whatever you want. In fact, ShopWorks, the company, actually runs our business on the same software. ShopWorks, the company, runs on on-site software. So it's very configurable. These order types, you can make them whatever you want. If I click on the primary status button, I'm going to see the status of each of these orders. So let's just look at these columns. What is the design? Is that done or not? Is the approval done or not? Is the purchasing done or not? Is the subcontract purchasing done or not? If you're farming out, let's say you do screen printing, you sell screen printing, but you don't produce it yourself. Our system can handle that. Is the receiving done? Is the production done? Is the invoicing done? And is it paid or not? And the beauty of this is, obviously, you don't have to get up from your desk to go talk to someone, but this information changes real time as your staff members are using the system. So as an employee, let's say on this first order here, KISS International, the receiving became partially done. My screen would flash and this would automatically change. So as people are using the system, the data is being updated real time, and that's changing, and everybody in your company can see it. Now, I can also go to a thumbnail view. So in your business, designs are very important. And I can see, if I just want to get a visual reminder of what design it is, okay, KISS International, we're doing some KISS t-shirts, Savings Bank, we got some other designs, and I can click on these designs. I can see an enlarged view of it. So I can get a lot of information very quickly. Now that's showing me all the orders in the system. What if I want to find a subset? It's very easy to do that. For example, I could say, show me all my embroidery orders. And I have what's called a stored find, and you can make these whatever you want. But these are just certain things that I search on all the time. Think of them as shortcuts. So show me all my embroidery orders. And just one click, there they all are. We have 34 of them. Show me all my promotional products orders. There's all my promotional products orders. Show me all my orders for one customer. Special Olympics. That's one, the customer, and there's all my orders for Special Olympics. So you can see all of the order details very quickly. If I want more details on an order, let's look at a real case scenario that you face every day. A good customer calls you. DC Special Olympics is my example. Could be anybody. And they say, Jay, hi, I'm calling to check on the status of my order. Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Let me bring up I know we're doing a lot of orders for you. Thanks for your business. I see we have a bunch of orders for you. Which one are you interested in getting status on? And they might say, oh, I'm looking for the one for the torch run for this year. Okay, that's this order. I'm going to click on the order, and now I'm in the order. I can say, well, your design's been done. We've purchased all the goods. We're just waiting for them to get here. Is there any information you'd like to know? Then I say, well, how much were you guys charging me for those again? Well, those were $6.99 each. The calculated price, or our list price, is $9.99, but you got it for $6.99. And then there were some double X's that were $8.50. and they say, well, where's that shipping to? I want to confirm that. Well, we're shipping to 2 different locations. And if I go to the shipping spec, I can see which items are shipping to which locations. Oh yeah, to your first location, you're shipping these quantities, and et cetera, et cetera. So you get the idea. I can give them that information real time. That is saving you and your customer a tremendous amount of time. Now, our system already also has accounting integrated with it. So if they said, hey, did you get my check? No, we haven't received it yet. I can go to this payments page and see that. I can see their approvals. That's our proof stuff add-on product. So in this case, we didn't send them an approval, but if we had, we'd see it here and they had approved it. And they might say, well, I'll tell you what, can you send me a copy of my invoice? Sure, I can. So let me email that over to you right now. I've selected my invoice. I'm going to click on email utility, and I would send that email to them. Dear Steve, send a stock email. So I don't have to type it in every time. Here's your invoice. Dear Steve, here's your invoice, and I would send it to them. So all that can be done real time as you're using the system. So that's kind of order status. And I want you to think of it just not from a customer service perspective, but I want you to think of it from the perspective of everywhere in your company. So let's look at what would happen in my purchasing department. So let's say I'm a different person on a different computer. I log in and I do purchasing for our company. And I go in here and I say product to order. Just show me everything I need to purchase. Here's every order in the system that needs to be purchased. And you can see there's are some orders for DC Special Olympics. If I wanted to narrow it down to DC Special Olympics, I have a little stored find here, or I could just do a search. So I showed you the stored find, but I can also just do an ad hoc search. I can search on whatever I want, and that'll bring up all of the matching data. So in this case, just find me all the DC Special Olympics, and there's all my DC Special Olympics orders that need purchasing. So if they've already been purchased, they will not show on this list. So you can kind of think of this as a work queue. And this work queue is where the person actually works from. So if they were going to actually do the purchasing, they would go here. They would say, and I'm going to do this really fast because, obviously there's going to be a lot of questions that could come up from this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a purchase order to Alpha Broder. Price is not $268, it's $250. And by the way, we are integrated with all the major shirt suppliers, Alpha, Sanmar, and S&S Activewear. And I'm going to go ahead and issue that purchase order. And when I do that, the purchase order is now issued. And notice that my status changed from purchased yes to purchase no to purchase yes. So that's reflected everywhere in my system. So right now, if my customer service person were looking at the screen, again, they would see that updated automatically. So it's a real-time system. And although these things are in an order, you can prescribe what order they go in, but they can be done at the same time. In the real world, you're not doing everything sequentially. When you take an order, you might have design, order approval, purchasing all going on at the same time. Certain things have to happen in sequence. For example, you can't receive goods if they haven't been purchased. Okay, so that part makes sense. So the system is very flexible in how you can configure it to have these orders flow through your company. Now this concept that I've shown you, this kind of queuing concept, it's in all these different departments. And notice these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 departments up here represent your order workflow. You take an order, that's sales. You purchase the goods. You have receiving on the order. You have production, which includes designing the garments and also producing them. Then you ship the product or have them picked up, and then you invoice the product. So these all represent your order workflow. So when we go to receiving, I can say all not received, and there's all the orders that need to be received. Now these, I'm kind of showing you from a desktop view. We also have a touchscreen view. This touchscreen is used a lot in production facilities. So if you have a production facility and you want to have these on your shop floor, many of our customers have big screens and they can scan with a barcode the paperwork and the person doing the receiving. So we have a receiving by order, and they could scan in the order and then they could receive it or not receive it. There's different things you can do in here. So we also have special interfaces that are designed for a shop floor. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you with regards to workflow is the calendar. So production can be looked at in a queue fashion. So if I go all not produced, this is showing me all my orders. I can go back out here to the main menu and I can say, show me all my embroidery orders. And remember, you can make these order types whatever you want. So if you do digital printing or some other type of production, pad printing, whatever, the system would be configured specifically for yourself. And I could sort by date. You can see here, when do they want the order, and I could sort by that information. But another way you can look at the same information, so the information can be looked at in a queue, if you will, but also could be looked at from a calendar view. So if I go into a calendar view, let's go to our production calendar, and we're looking at a production calendar right now. Now this is showing me for all order types, screen printing, embroidery. I can look at it by what machine I have scheduled. I can look at it by the design I have scheduled, or even the customer. I can also, instead of looking at all machines, I could pick a specific machine, or I could pick a specific department. So for example, if I wanted to see just everything that I had in embroidery, or everything I have in screen printing, or everything you have in pad printing, however, you can set up all these departments properly. If I want to see details, let's go to all. If I want to see details for a particular week or day, I just drill down and I can see more information. And notice when I do that, now it's telling me how many hours, what sort of time I'm going to be taking up each day. And this is really going to help you for doing capacity, planning for when you're going to be able to produce orders, etc. I can switch weeks easily by clicking here. Again, I can filter these calendars by different things. So you have a lot of power here. You can also let your employees see these calendars, but not change them. And therefore, when your sales department is taking orders, they can kind of, you can give them some benchmarks for when they should be taking orders, when the orders can get done, etc. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing you can do about improving your workflow, is tracking on order status. And I know it actually goes a lot more than tracking. It's actually tracking people's to-do lists, communication. And that's really the next thing I want to talk about, is communication between employees on each order. So the on-site system, when you're in a paper world, your way of communicating is usually verbal or email. And the problem with that is they both take a long time. That's number one. Number two is you don't really have good tracking. You don't have good accountability. There can be a lot of, oh, you told me this, and no, I didn't, because those conversations are usually not recorded. So on-site has a bunch of tools built into it that are going to help you along the lines of communication. And I mean, the first thing is just the system itself. Just having the system itself, everybody's on the same page because they can see the same data. So that in of itself is kind of one communication tool. Another communication tool that we have, let's go into an order, and I'm going to bring up our customer, the Special Olympics, which is who we do a lot of work for. We have a lot of different notes that you can put on the order. So for example, I have notes on an order. These are just generic notes on the order. But if I go to this Notes tab, notice that I can add notes to this order. So let's look at some real world example. Let's say I'm the salesperson. I just entered this order, and I want to make sure this customer had a problem last time with his artwork. So I'm going to say, make sure art is the proper color, had a problem on the last order. And I'm just going to send that to my art department, but I also want to send it to my production department, because it's not only a matter of the customer approving the right art, the color and everything. It's a matter of the production department mixing the right color. It's in ink. This is a screen printing job. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to now end it. And you can see we just now have two notes on that order. And those notes will pop up when the production person and when the artist is using those departments of the system. So when they're using the art department, when they're using the production department, and they click on this order, those notes are going to pop up on them. It's also going to appear on paperwork. So our system can print out paperwork. So if you want to have your staff at the last minute print out paperwork, they're going to see these notes on the paperwork. Now, I might also want to give a note to my purchasing person. Please only use Hanes Beefy. No substitutions. And I'm going to send that to my purchasing person. So I'm going to send that there. And notice you also have stock notes here. So I don't have to hand type these notes in. If you have certain notes that are used over and over again, I can click on those. I can use the stock notes instead of typing them in manually. So you can see here I have some stock notes made up. So I'll save that, and now I can see that we have a note to the person in purchasing. Again, they're going to pop up on screen. You're going to have it all documented. So if there ever comes a problem and somebody's like, well, I didn't get that note, or I didn't know that was on there. Okay, well, this is the date and time it was created. So these can't be edited, and you have an audit trail. Another type of communication that you can do within the system, if I go over here, is activities. Now, activities are used for customer communication. I'm going to talk about that separately here in a minute. But we have internal messages. So internal messages is similar to, but not the exact same as, an email system. So let's say I wanted to send somebody an email on this order, or an internal message. They're not really emails. I'm going to go here to my little target tool. And that's going to bring up an inbox. So you can see it works like email, that you have an inbox and everything. But I'm going to create a new message. And because I'm going to say who I want to send it to. So I'm going to send that to James. And let's say, again, James is our purchasing agent. So goods for this order. And again, please make sure you order the right goods. And I'm going to send that. And again, same thing. That's going to pop up on an order. It's also going to be linked to the order. This is a test system, so there's some sort of glitch in here, or I don't have something set up properly. But that message would link here to the sales order. And again, you would have the historical reference in the order. Now, that's only going to go to James. You can also send it to groups of people. So if I had 5 people I wanted to send the message to. So you have the notes on the order. You have the internal messages. That's kind of the internal notes that you have on the order. And of course, you have the order itself, which is the order status and all the other stuff you have there. So that's kind of what I call internal notes, or inter-office communications. Now, the next kind of communications you're going to have, and this brings up our third point here, is the third thing we're interested in. The third thing you can do to improve your order workflow is communication with customers. How can we make this more efficient? How can we make it faster? How can we make it more clear? How can we avoid mistakes? And we have a bunch of tools built in for that. The first tool is I can email directly from my on-site system. So if I said, let me just send an email to Steve, and again, I'm going to pick from my stock emails, and here's your design approval. And if you have, it'll dynamically fill out the information. I would send it to Steve. Clicking on this little send button, there's different ways you can send email through our system. I would send it to Steve, and then notice that's now stored as an activity in our system. So you can see on 10/5, I sent Steve 1 email, and on 10/21, I sent him another email. So this is a way to communicate. Now, it's only outbound emails, so no inbound emails are not getting dragged into the system. Only outbound emails are getting sent from the system. So that's kind of a way to communicate with customers via email. Another way to do it, another thing you can do is you can send proofs to the customer. We have separate webinars, and we're going to have one coming up pretty soon on proof stuff and how to do the whole proofing process. But I could add a proof to the customer. I could have them send it to him via email. He'd click on a link, and then that also would be saved as an activity. And I would see here that I sent him a proof. The other communication tool you have is the ability, I kind of showed you this one, to send them emails with attachments. So for example, if he asked me for the invoice, I could send an email utility and send him an invoice or any other form that we have in our system. We also have a new feature we just came out with called Click to Pay. Click to Pay is where I can click on this button and it will send him an invoice with a link to pay. So I'm not going to go into all the details of this, but let's say, and you can see it dynamically fills it out. Hi, Steve. Click on the link below and allows them to pay automatically via credit card. That money goes into your bank account and it goes into your on-site system automatically. Remember, on-site is accounting as well, and so it will capture that payment information, apply it to the invoice. Your customer will get a receipt, and it does all that automatically. Now, another product that we have with regards to customer communication is manage orders. So manage orders, this is our website, by the way, ShopWorks website. And if you go under products, you'll see on-site. That's kind of the product I'm showing you today. Proof Stuff is an add-on that works with on-site. Manage Orders is an add-on that works with on-site as well. And Manage Orders, let me just go to Manage Orders. Manage Orders allows a customer to view their order by order number and email address, or they can log in. So, for example, I'm going to log in as my customer, Special Olympics. And so when I log in, this is done through a web browser. And let me zoom in a little bit here. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. They can use it from a web browser. They can use it from a mobile phone, from a tablet. And my customer can log in and they can actually see their order information. So they can click on the different tabs here. They can see the orders. They can click on an order. And when they do that, they can see all the details of the order, how much it cost, etc. They can see payment information. They can see proofs, designs, tracking if you're doing UPS shipping or FedEx shipping. So the customer can log in and they can see all this information, and you can customize this. So you can customize, obviously, the look of it. You can customize what they see. And also notice there's payment links in here. So they can pay with credit card, they can pay with check, they can print the invoice. So these are all different options you have to communicate with the customer. Now, why is that powerful? Well, so if you're doing the paper system that I showed you earlier, and your customers are calling in to get order status, that's the least efficient. The next step up is they call you. They still have to call you, but you can give them the information instantly, okay? That's because you have the on-site system. And the third level, or the next level of customer service, is to give them a portal. And that's what this is. Manage Orders is your company's portal where they can log in and see the status of their orders and even pay for orders. So that's taking your customer service to the next level. And it also allows your customers, fewer calls to your company, and allows your customers to pay for orders quicker. So we have two ways that customers can pay for their orders with on-site. Well, obviously, they can always do it manually or send you a check, but electronically, you can do it with click to pay, and you can also do it with manage orders. So both those options allow you to pay your customers to pay electronically. Okay, so what's the end result of using on-site versus paper systems? Well, number one, again, we're going to lower your labor costs. You're going to be able to deliver orders faster. Okay. Now, when you lower labor costs, that doesn't mean you're going to start getting rid of employees. Usually it doesn't mean that, but it means you can do more work, or your employees can do more productive work as opposed to pushing paper around. Delivering orders faster makes your customers happier. It also makes your employees happier. Your employees don't have to get up from their desk, talk to people. There's less headbutting over stuff because, there's less verbal interaction between staff members and arguing over when orders should be done and whose job it is to do what. It's all laid out in the on-site system. And the fourth thing is you get fast business analytics for managers and owners. So that's another benefit of it. I'm going to go into a couple more bonus features I want to tell you about real quick, but let me launch my second poll here. So I'm going to launch this. Again, it takes you only a second or two to fill it out. Click on as many of these as you want. But the question is, what software systems do you currently use to manage your system? And again, just by answering the question gets you another entry into the $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. So go ahead and answer that for me real quick. And I see about half of you have voted. So if you haven't voted, get your clicks in. And I'm going to end the poll here in a couple seconds. A couple seconds, and I'll close it. Okay, so here's our results. Well, 100% of you using QuickBooks, which I'm going to say is kind of bad, because QuickBooks is not bad at software. It's not bad at accounting, but it's bad at your workflow and the other parts of your business. 67% of you using spreadsheets, 17% are using magnet boards, and 17% are using other software, other industry-specific software. Okay, so let me tell you about some of the other cool on-site features that we have. I'm not going to show you those for you today, but I want to tell you a little bit about them. So you don't have to manually enter orders in on-site. We are integrated with many shopping carts. In fact, if you go to our website and you go to integrations shopping carts, you'll see Bright Stores, Inksoft, Order My Gear, Shopify, WooCommerce, OnSite EDP. Manage Orders actually has a generic API. API is an acronym meaning that computers can talk to each other. So you can actually make any web store you want talk to our API, and you can push orders and payment information and customer information into the on-site system. Now, what does that mean? That saves you data entry time. So that's cool feature number one. Cool feature number two is integrated accounting. Now you might say, that's not so cool. I like QuickBooks because a lot of you or all of you are using QuickBooks. Well, the advantage of ShopWorks accounting is it's 100% natively integrated. And what that means is everything is real time. If I'm in on-site and I go to accounting, payments, and receive a payment for DC Special Olympics and apply it, the person in sales automatically sees that. They can go to here, they can go to lines, they see, oh, the deposit came in, and they would see that reflected. You're not having to mosh two systems together or get them to talk or whatever. The two systems are automatically integrated. So that's our integrated accounting. Online art and order approvals. So I told you a little bit, mentioned it briefly. We have a whole system for doing art and order approvals. Works great. Makes your customers happy. Makes your order flow go faster. Again, we're going to have a webinar coming up on that pretty soon. Number 4, product sourcing. So I don't want to have to call Sanmar, Alpha Broder, SNS Activewear, or I don't want to source promotional products. I want to do it right from with OnSite. Well, you can do that with Sanmar, Alpha Broder, SNS Activewear, and Sage. You can get pricing on Sage. You can source thousands and thousands of products, tens of thousands over different vendors. Sanmar, SNS Activewear, and Alpha Broder, same thing. You can issue purchase orders. So through the Sanmar, SNS Activewear, and Alpha Broder, you can actually issue purchase orders electronically. You can check inventory levels. So there's just a lot of cool things you can do, and that comes out of the box with OnSite. It's just part of the system. Number 5, the click to pay feature I told you about. This is kind of a new feature, but it allows you to send your customers an email with a secure link. All they do is click on that link. They can view their invoice. They can download the invoice, and they can pay you faster. And the beauty is that payment goes directly into your bank and directly into your on-site system. So you're not having to do, again, eliminating data entry, streamlining your business, eliminating human error. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is analytics. So we all hear the term analytics. It's in the NFL. It's in everything. Baseball managers are making decisions based on analytics. Well, analytics is a fancy term, but it's nothing new. It means what's going on with my business? How can I get it's math? How do I see what's going on with my business quickly? And OnSite has that built in. It's very quick to see what's going on with your business. We have analysis sections in our system. We have charts and graphs that you can pull up. And all these are done with a click of the button. You're not having to do extra work to make those things happen. It just comes out of the box with OnSite. So what I want to do now is I'm going to launch our last poll here in a second. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you to ask questions. I see we have a couple of questions have come in, and I'm going to answer those in a minute. So if you'd like to, now's the time to ask those questions. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to launch our last poll. Again, gets you an entry. And this question is very simple. Would you like us to do a demo for you? We're not a high-pressure sales company. ShopWorks is a technology company. But if you would like to see more of our software, we can set up a demo for you. It can take as long or as short as you want, typically 30 minutes to an hour. So if you'd like to do that, you can always go to our website, or I'm just going to go ahead and launch the poll. If you say yes, then we'll have somebody reach out to you. If not, that's fine too. But remember, just by clicking, you get an entry into the raffle. So even if your entry is no, not right now, that's fine, no problem. We won't have anybody contact you, but you still might get the $100 gift card. Okay, so I see the votes are coming in, and I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. Remember, this gets you an entry. Okay, I'm going to close it. So thank you for the response. Again, if you responded yes, we will reach out to you. If the response is no, you won't hear from us. And it's a low pressure say. We're not a high pressure company. So even if you responded yes, we call you and change your mind, it's not a problem. We're not going to harass you. Okay, so let's take a look at these questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in now. Okay, so Let's see here. The first question is from Ben, and it's about the payments. Is the payments integrated with the system, and can I use my own? Okay, so I think I understand this. So the question is, can I use my own payment processor for payments? Yeah, certainly. So when you go over here to accounting and I receive a customer payment, okay, you could take credit cards right from within the on-site system. So I could go to credit card and I could just do it right from here. You can also, there's lots of different ways to do it. You can also attach a terminal to the computer and do it from within on-site. But let's say you use another terminal, use some other payment processor. You can certainly process it outside of on-site and then just type the information in here. So I could type in, let's say it was $1,000. You processed it for Special Olympics. And then I want to apply it to an order, okay? So you can certainly do that outside of the system, but it's just going to be a little bit more cumbersome. It's not going to be as efficient. The pay-per-click feature I told you about, that is only available through ShopWorks Pay, which is kind of the payment processing platform through our system. But ShopWorks Pay is, in almost all cases, cheaper than your current processor. So not only is it integrated with your system, but it's less expensive. So, but you're not forced to use it. You can use any payment processor you want. Okay. The next question is, Jack asks a great question. How easy time consuming is it to change over from QuickBooks / Printavo? That's a great question. And it's really going to depend on your organization more than our organization. So we're set up when you first purchase on-site, our onboarding is included, meaning we help you get up and running. We help you. You still have to do some of the setup involved, but we walk you through that. We train you. We get data transferred over for you. So there's certain data we can import for you. We do that, and we do all the training for you. But really, the success of that and the time frame is going to depend on how much time you can commit to, training and helping out with the process. We typically find most customers are in the, I would say, 30 to 45 to 60 day range, depending on the size of your organization. Smaller organizations can do it faster. We have larger organizations that take longer than 45 or 60 days to do it. So it's really going to depend on your organization size. Cynthia asks, does this create KPIs? Cynthia, I'm going to ask you to expand on that. I think I know what a KPI is. It's like some sort of index of production, and then you can compare numbers to match that index of production. If that is the question, which I think it is, it doesn't create the KPIs. You could probably use the on-site data to do your KPIs. But we'd have to do a demo with you to see exactly, to make sure. I don't want to say yes or no. There's a lot of features within here that would allow you to do KPIs but ShopWorks does not have a KPI feature per se. So maybe that answered your question, maybe not. But we'd certainly be able to explore that question with you more in a demo scenario, because it sounds like you have some real specific needs there. Okay. Bob asks, can you show me how the designs work? Sure. So if I go over here to designs, the designs are stored in our system. So if I view all active designs, and we kind of call these the initial design or the master design. So this is the main design in the system, and you can see it has a numbering system. Designs can have one or multiple locations associated with it. So for example, this is a full back, a full front, a left sleeve, and all this stuff is customizable. So you can customize the drop downs. All these drop downs are customizable. These design types, so screen printing, embroidery, promotional products, you can make as many of these different design types as you want, and you can customize them for your business. So just keep in mind as you're viewing this, you're seeing kind of our stock way of setting it up, but you could really customize this for your specific business a lot differently. But this is where the designs are managed. And then when you select a design, let's go back to our Special Olympics order. We only had one design on this order. So this is the design as used on the order, but I could select designs and I could select multiple designs. So let's say I have this, now I have two designs. So I have a torch run one torch run and another torch run. Sure, there's two different ones. And I can go to the line items on that order, and I could split this line item across the multiple designs. So I could say half of them get one design, half of them get another design. A quarter of them get shipped to one location, 3/4 get shipped to another location. So you can slice and dice orders. You can get very complicated with that if you want. That's going to be up to you. But yeah, our system can handle all those different scenarios. Split designs, split shipping, all those different scenarios can be handled in the system. Cynthia asked another question. Does this program eliminate QuickBooks or does it integrate into QuickBooks? It eliminates QuickBooks. So now we do have customers who use QuickBooks with our system, but our accounting system is pretty robust. The main benefit of it, it's completely integrated with the whole system. That's the main benefit of it. Is it going to have all the bells and whistles of QuickBooks? No, it's not, because QuickBooks is made for millions of businesses, and they're going to have bells and whistles we don't have. But we also have things they don't have. So we have a lot of things in on-site that you're not going to have in a QuickBooks, and we can show you those in a demo. But most of it is going to relate to the integration, the heavy integration with our system. So an example would be like when you're invoicing an order in our system. When I invoice the order, let's say I want to invoice this order here. I'm just going to do this kind of quickly. And I say mark as invoiced. We invoice the order. Now that order is not an order anymore. It's now an invoice. Okay, it goes from an order to being an invoice. But let's say I just noticed I made a mistake. Okay, I can uninvoice it, correct my mistake, fix it, and invoice it real quick. Now, if you're doing an integration with QuickBooks and you're sending the data to QuickBooks or you're manually entering it in QuickBooks or however you're doing it, and it's just not going to be as easy to make those kinds of changes. The other nice thing about our system is we do have sizing. So when you present an invoice to a customer, it's printed with sizes on it. You don't have to, every size doesn't have to be a separate line item. So if I click on the invoice, let's just look at what an invoice looks like. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me zoom out for you. And you can change how the invoice looks. It's not going to say on-site. It's going to have your company logo here, and you can hide certain things on here. But the invoice, the sizing is what I wanted to show you. How if you have multiple sizes, it's going to combine it into one line item. And you have lots of options for displaying the invoice, but this is the basics of how it looks. So, yeah, that's my answer to that one. Okay. I don't see any more questions that have come in, so I'll wait a couple more seconds. While I'm waiting those couple more seconds, I want to thank everybody for your time today. Again, we will send you the link to the webinar, and also one of you was going to get a $100 gift card that'll be sent out on Monday, and it'll be sent to you electronically. So I don't see any more questions coming in. So again, thanks for your time. Everybody have a great Friday, a great weekend. Look for our next webinar, and thanks again for your time today. Take care.